I highly, highly advise, and I believe that everybody should have their own business where they can enjoy what they do and still make it profitable. And especially like when I able to catch somebody that hasn't made that many mistakes and like going to school or getting a degree that is not going to cash flow. I mean, getting a degree is an investment, right? So we need to advise our young ones to pick one that they're going to truly cash out on. What are you going to put in and how much the potential earnings are? Those are things that if you're able to catch the young kids at an age where they haven't made those mistakes, that's gold, because then you can pretty much guide them and walk them through.
Hey, it's Rocky. Welcome to Richer Soul. Today's guest is Maricela Soberanes, who has an amazing story of building the American dream as an immigrant. Imagine it's 12 months from now, and you've achieved your major life goals. How does it feel to be in the best shape of your life? To wake up energized, excited about the day? To have great relationships and friends who support you and propel you forward? How does it feel to have an excess of money, to be able to make the choices you want? To be fearless and open to trying new adventures? Imagine being connected to the universe and it providing everything you desire. It's possible over time, and your past does not dictate your future. The only thing holding you back from this vision is you. It's time to take control of our thoughts and use them to our advantage. Welcome to Richer Soul, where we achieve our dreams and bring balance to health, wealth, relationships, time, and spirituality. If you have not had a chance to listen to episodes 1 through 9, I encourage you to go back and listen to the framework behind Richer Soul and how to create the life of your dreams. You can also find all the show notes for this episode at richersoul.com. While you're there, you can sign up for a monthly email where I share the best articles I read this month, let you know about upcoming episodes, and share a little wisdom. You can also listen to coaching calls under the Coaching Calls tab. I also share the most interesting articles I read every week on Facebook at facebook.com/Richer Soul. And there's also a Facebook group where you can ask questions and interact with other listeners. Today's quote is from Eckhart Tolle. Whatever you fight, you strengthen, and what you resist persists. We all need to strengthen ourselves and overcome our obstacles. And today's episode is a testament to that. By the way, have you ever checked out any of Naval Reserve's work? He wrote a piece called How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. I suggest you Google it. It's free and it's available both in written and audio form. Naval shares some amazing strategies of how to look at things differently. We're going to cover some of those themes today. I always love to study and learn from others. Naval is also an immigrant from India, and he's had tremendous success in life as an angel investor in companies like Uber. Now he shares what he's learned for free to make the world a better place. Our guest today has an incredible journey. She is from Mexico, and she came to America to build the American dream. Listen to how she's overcome stumbling blocks and builds her wealth, and also has complete control of her time. Maricela is a first-generation entrepreneur by heart who immigrated to the United States after earning a business degree in Mexico. Handicapped by the inability to speak English, she worked diligently to overcome it. She put herself through school, earned a master's degree in science and a doctorate in anesthesia practice. She then joined the Naval Reserve and served overseas as an anesthesia provider. In the background, she thought real estate, business, and built a rental portfolio. Currently, she and her husband self-manage their mixed portfolio consisting of single-family houses, small multi-living, and a residential commercial And she started to diversify by participating in syndications and joint ventures. After years of mentoring others, they are now on a structured mission to divulge financial literacy as a way to give back to help others reach their financial independence. Let's meet our guest. Welcome to Richer Soul, Maricela Soberanes. It's great to have you join us today.
Thank you, Rocky. Thanks for having me. Super excited about this event.
And I'm excited to have you on today and to learn from your story. We always start at the beginning. What was it like when you were growing up, and how much did your family and school teach you about money?
School, I would say nearly zero. This is not a topic that money is addressed. And I grew up in Mexico, so that's definitely even farther away from like teaching anything about money or finances. Family, my older sisters, siblings actually, were very creative when it came to creating sources of income. And it was very humbling to see how they were creative as far as looking for opportunities where we can make money. And that was because we grew up very, I wouldn't say poor, but not a lot of resources. But because of that need, because of that lack of money, we were able to get opportunities. For example, my sister will buy some toys that were distressed, and we repurposed them, and she will call it the arts and crafts day. So we'll paint them and clean them up, and then we take them back to the market and sell them for profit. So I saw creativity. I saw the opportunity, finding ways of just looking for different sources of how can I make this source of income. So family-wise, I will say they definitely planted that seed of entrepreneurial and trying to find different ways of make a source of income.
And how old were you when that was going on?
I was 6, maybe 7 years old, but ever since there's I can sit there and tell you countless memories that I have of how my siblings created money out of thin air, pretty much.
That would be interesting. Can you share a couple stories?
Yes, of course. Another story, we had a bicycle, and the bicycle served for us to, go pick up store, anything we needed from the store. It wasn't a long distance, but then I soon learned that you could rent a bicycle and somebody will pay it because it was the neighbor, and they will, give you a couple change in here and there. But then the bicycle was pretty much running all day long to the store, and we would just make sure that the bicycle was in good condition so that everybody could come and rent it from us. And that's just another source of another story. When my first.
They do that now in big cities. They rent you bicycles, right? You pick them up, you pay, you drop them off. They do the same thing with scooters. You were way ahead of your time.
Same concept. That is correct. And it's all about looking for opportunities, like where is the need and what are the resources and how can you match those two to facilitate some or fix somebody's problems. And that is the same principle that these days we follow, and much more sophisticated business that we get involved. But it is the same principle. How can I better, or how can I fix your problem? What do I have as far as resources that I can use to help you along your journey?
And that's literally what business comes down to. It's figuring out what are the problems that people are experiencing, and then finding, and this is where we always get in trouble, finding the most economical way to solve the problem. Too often we think we have to go out and buy fancy things to solve other people's problems. And that's why most businesses aren't profitable, because they overspend on the solution instead of finding the most efficient, least costly way to do it, which is what it sounds like you did.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned knowing what you're bringing in and knowing what your expenses are, because when you are not aware of those numbers, it's so easy to overspend, or it's so easy to not even value what you're bringing in. And I know you're heavy on paying yourself first, or being knowing how much can I pay myself. If you don't even know how much you're making, how can you allocate a number to that and add a value to how much you can actually withdraw from your business?
And that's very true. So how did you learn the financial part of doing business since you didn't really get a formal education in it?
Well, actually, my first degree in Mexico, because like I mentioned before, I grew up in Mexico. My first degree was in business. So, but again, that was solidifying the principles that I learned at home. But yeah, I learned about finances and keeping the books and, you know, the importance of advancing your business and investing in an asset that is going to produce a cash flow. So that was the structure of what I still rely on and what we implement in our business and share with people that we mentor. You have to understand basic numbers, what comes in, what leaves, and how can you reinvest that money so that you can keep that wheel turning.
And that's very true. So you finished college in Mexico, and then did you immediately come to the United States, or was there a period in between?
Yeah, there was 5 years after I graduated from college in Mexico. I have some actually very successful jobs in the corporate world. I escalated rather quickly. And it was in that corporate job that I actually was exposed to people that were like English speakers, right? The executive that I work under was very fluent in English, and I remember he called me into the office to work in a project that we had, we were working on, and he was finishing up his call, and it was in English. And I remembered I told him, I one of these days I'm gonna, you know, like learn English. And then he's like, oh, never, whatever. Like he just kind of blew me off, and I remember how I felt. I felt like I'm gonna prove you right. That was the fire that I needed to ignite my next venture, which was coming to the States and just learning the language. And that's when I arrived to the States. And at age 23, I did had $100 in my pocket, but nothing else. I didn't know anybody, and I didn't speak the language. That was my beginning to the second journey, I would say.
And so what happened next? You arrive here, you have $100, you don't speak English. How did you survive?
Right. So first of all, my first goal was to learn English. So I quickly learned that my degree from Mexico was not going to, it just wasn't going to be very helpful here. So I started learning English by attending free classes that the community college was offering. And that's then how I kind of learned about other professions that I could join. I financed my way to nursing school and then anesthesia school. I did all kinds of jobs that I needed to do, cleaning offices, translating for people when I started learning a little bit of the English. And I pretty much put every skill that I had into creating a source of income. And eventually, I completed my doctorate degree. And I don't know if you want more details on that, but that's kind of how I did it. Just I was laser focused on what I set myself as my 1 year goal, 5-year goal, and just like I put them on paper and then paddle very hard. That was it.
That's impressive, though, to go from $100 to earning a doctorate degree in anesthesia practice. How did you, that must not have been a very easy journey.
It wasn't easy, but that also is what make it so rewarding, to keep going at it. And I looked at breaking statistics in my own life, like the way I grew up, and it happens all the time. Most of the population in the circle that I was born probably is going to end up in a circle of, poverty, or maybe not even making it out to a position where they can be in control of their time or their life, really. And so, it was mostly the dreams that I had. And like you asked how I did it, at one point you just set yourself in survival mode and keep paddling, stay focused on what you believe you deserve. And it is a mindset that you have to like sell to your brain to embed it and to believe that you are that person that deserves those dreams that you're solidifying in your head and in your brain and in your heart.
Do you know where that spark came from that gave you the fire to go do that?
Well, I know that there are certain experiences in my life that, like the one with my boss told me that I couldn't learn English. That was firing. That was fire under my feet. I think if I see an obstacle, I will immediately turn around and ask, how can I overcome this? And I still find myself applying the same principles. If I see something that it is going to be a difficult journey, a difficult process, I will immediately switch into the mindset of survival or overcoming. And if I'm faced with a problem, I just start listing the options for making it not a problem, but an opportunity to learn, if that makes sense.
Yes. So you got your degrees in anesthesia, and then you joined the U.S. Naval Reserve Force. What was that all about?
Right. Well, for me, it was a couple of reasons why. One was to give back to this wonderful country that welcomed me and allowed me to fulfill my dreams and achieve what I probably didn't even dream about when I was in my country. And I love my country. But it was a way to give back. It doesn't matter where I came from. It was like, this is a place that I need to give back. So for me, it was a way of giving back. And another reason is networking with people that the high quality. My Navy military family is just something that I probably would never come across. And if I would stay as a civilian, I value the experiences of practicing and learning and networking with that kind of population. So it was more like me putting myself out there, feeling that I had achieved the highest degree that I could. I was earning, what I put in for as far as work. I was very content and very fulfilled with my life. But it was another phase in my life that I felt like I needed to give back, and I needed to network and expand from my comfort zone, because at that time I had reached a comfort zone. And it back to pretty much every phase of my life. It's like I reach a comfort zone and then I want to look outside of it and I want to see what's out there. And that probably is what triggered, because I don't necessarily probably be driven to go and, put a weapon apart and clean it and shoot it and qualify for a certain, that's not something that is comfortable for me. So the fact that I went and fall into a system that's what they specialize on, that's what they teach you. And aside of being professional and knowledgeable on my own skills, I still needed to expand and learn other skills. And that propelling my knowledge probably was one of the biggest reasons why I stepped out of my comfort zone and joined the military.
And thank you for your service. So during this whole time, when did you get started with the real estate?
Thank you for the support and mentioning it. On the real estate, I actually started doing that on the side. After graduating with a nursing degree, I knew I needed to upgrade from my little apartment. So I actually purchased a duplex where I house hacked, which is, when you live in one side and rent the other side, or it can be a house that you live in one room and then rent out the other rooms. So I house hacked it, and it was with the mentality that if I'm not able to make the full payment, then somebody else will assume half of the responsibility. So again, that was the business mindset that kind of got me there. I didn't know much about the real estate and the ways of living in the States. Again, I grew up in Mexico and living here in the States, I started living in an apartment. So I just knew that people eventually get a house. And that was my next step as far as getting a house. But it kind of served me well when I went to grad school. I moved out of state, and it was a very strategic way to rent out both of the sites and still be able to make that a profitable asset instead of a liability for me while I was going to school full time and not able to work, but I was still able to pay for that house because it was being rented out. And then from there, I continue to grow. I have used several tactics in real estate, house hacking, lines of credit, syndications, putting my own money or our money to buy real estate. And that's kind of how it grew. It kind of grew alone on the side. It wasn't until I was deployed overseas where I found myself with a lot more time than usual. I literally dove into learning the business of real estate and how can that be used for building wealth and reaching your financial independence. And coming back after a deployment, I was ready to dive in and put all that knowledge into practice and take action on that aspect. So that's kind of how the real estate business came along.
And congratulations on your success with real estate. What happened after you came back? What was the next step in your life?
So as I left, actually before I deployed, I had started carrying my practice into a travel practice. So I will go find different hospitals I needed my services, and I pretty much move around the country selling my anesthesia services. So at the same time, I was Airbnb in my primary house. So it was being paid off as I was working away because my agencies were paying for housing somewhere else, right? So when I came back from my deployment, I have saved a chunk of money. I have learned all these techniques that you can use, and I pretty much started my acquisition phase for the portfolio. And every penny that I earned was pretty much to be injected into the portfolio, the rental portfolio. And I was doing that. I was self-managing, so I was being a landlord from a distance. And working remotely, relying heavily on my team for maintenance and all the other issues and day-to-day operations for the business. But at the same time, just like, again, laser focus on what the goal was. And at that point, my goal was to buy one house at a time or one property at a year, per year. And I did that, and then I met my husband. We got married, and he pretty much married into the crazy dream of building the portfolio, and we've been on fire ever since.
And so you mentioned something, and I don't think people realize how valuable this is, especially for people in the medical field. By taking jobs where there was a need and traveling around, you got free housing, and you probably got paid double what you would have if you had taken a job locally, correct?
Absolutely. What I sell flexibility. I'm there if you need me. I'm gone if you don't need me. And I sell, I'm able to pick and choose what practice I want to focus on by picking different hospitals. So different hospitals have different skills that I would like to, like pediatrics or obstetrics, and I can pretty much choose what skills I need to brush out on or practice, and then don't get aged in one specific niche or one specific area. And my point is to make myself marketable, so that when I go and present my services to a given hospital or a group, they see that I am pretty much I've been practicing in all different areas in the medical field within our practice.
And so that makes you more valuable, and you get to even pick and choose where you want to live in the country. So you can go see the whole country essentially for free.
Absolutely. I've done that and living upstate New York over the summer. When it starts snowing, I migrate to San Diego, Texas, or somewhere else. It's been wonderful. Yeah.
And that's, these are the types of things that I think people need to think about, that there are a multitude of ways to do things in life and to experience the world and get paid for it. And it seems like you found ways to do that. And that probably comes from your training from a very young age.
Yeah, absolutely. I highly advise, and I believe that everybody should have their own business where they can enjoy what they do and still make it profitable. And especially like when I'm like able to catch somebody that hasn't made that many mistakes and like going to school or getting a degree that is not going to cash flow. I mean, getting a degree is an investment, right? So we need to advise our young ones to pick one that they're going to truly cash out on. What are you going to put in and how much the potential earnings are? Those are things that if you're able to catch the young kids at an age where they haven't made those mistakes, that's gold, because then you can pretty much guide them and walk them through. And I love telling this to the kids of my friends. I'm like, just send them over. I'll take them to whatever their favorite restaurant is, and I just buy them a meal. And I hope that with this time that we spend together, I can plant that seed of desire that you have to be financially savvy when you move along with your decisions in life. And I truly could not tell you where I got that from, other than before you take a step, analyze what you can be, what you can have potentially as an income, whether it's money or networking. Like before you take that decision, truly analyze what you could get or what you could lose, because it can go either way. But yeah, that's kind of my message in a nutshell. Just make sure you analyze those steps before. And obviously, you're not going to know everything that you need to know anytime that you take a step, but find the resources that are going to help you. Find a mentor. Find somebody that already did it. And of course, parents are not going to be the mentor that the kids reach out. So maybe bring your kids to some environment where they can have that. And I feel that's a heavy message that I want to send, because I never had that experience. Like I have to make mistakes and learn from that. And like we in Mexico, I don't remember ever having like a career day like they have it here in the States. And even then, there still doesn't present with all the options, but at least it's something, So if you can capture that and take it home and send it or share that with your kids or with, I have a heart for younger population so that they can avoid making the mistakes that I make,
And that is so true. So you've had a lot of success. What's next for you?
The phase of our journey that we find ourselves, again, I keep saying my husband and I, we are in a position that we can, now that we have the time, that we can spend building a networking community where we can share, whether it's in a group or one-on-one, we can take every person's journey and hopefully direct them into a way that they can reach their financial independence sooner or with less pain or with less expenses. So we do share the information that builds financial literacy and coaching one-on-one as needed. But that's our way of giving back. And again, this is another phase in our lives that we are able to take that time and to give back, reach out to others and make ourselves available. And again, we keep the other side of business going. So if a person comes to us and they want to go and buy their first property, we're thrilled because we speak the language and we can speak both languages. We can help them finding their assets and also managing them. So that's kind of where we are right now.
And so what does financial independence mean to you?
So to me, well, if you ask me business type answer, it will be that you have enough money to cover all your expenses and you don't have to worry about we'll provide a meal for a given time, whatever you're comfortable with. Most people is 6 months, right? But if you ask me from the entrepreneurial side, I will definitely say it's about having control of your time and how you spend your time. How do you allocate your resources, which is intellectual, time-wise, or monetary-wise. So to me, being financial independence means that you have control of your time and your money, and you have and reach intellectual that you can now share with others.
And that's important, to have control over your time, over your money, to be able to do what you want, to live how you want, and to make the choices that you choose to make in life. What else would you like to share with the audience that may help them improve their financial lives?
Oh, yeah, we have what we call the 6 Ds to reach your financial independence, and I can share a couple of them. But the first one is what we call the discovery phase. So for a person to reach their financial independence, and again, it has to be the definition that matches their lifestyle and that matches what their obligations are. So whatever you define as your financial independence, then you're going to have to do a discovery phase where you're going to come to your books and say, okay, these are my assets. This is what I have. This is where I find myself in the spectrum of financial independence, because there's a spectrum that you have to define from being financial dependent on somebody. It usually happens when we are kids that we don't have a way to provide our basic needs, right? And all the way to financial abundance. So you have to find yourself where in the spectrum do you find today yourself, and then do direct to action. So you're gonna have to develop a plan, and what is realistic for you might not be realistic for other person. So you have to personalize a plan. So those are the things that you're gonna have to. Those are the first steps that you're gonna have to take in order to take control of your finances. So those are actionable things that you can today take however you track your expenses and your income, and do a very, very simple calculation on where you find yourself and where do you want to go, because it's not until you define your goals and that you're going to then direct your actions towards every effort that you make is going to direct you towards reaching those goals. So if I could share something with your audience, will be know your budget, know your numbers, have that clear number where you need to go. And then the journey to get there, it'll be so much easier because you have the specific goal in front of your eyes, and nothing that you do should distract you from reaching that goal.
And that's the key, is understanding what you want, having your goals, and then going forward and taking action on them. Were there a couple other Ds you wanted to share?
Oh, yes. So then the next one, after you do the discovery and then you direct your actions to your financial independence, then you want to dilute your risk. So anywhere that you go, do you choose to put your money in, it's going to have risks, because that's the sides of a coin. You have risk and reward. So you cannot take the coin and only take one side. You have to take both. So when people start freeing up their money to come and invest, and it doesn't matter what kind of investments you go in with, you have to educate yourself. You have to learn the language. You have to learn how to digest that information that is already out there, because some very, very smart people already wrote books and journals and articles on how to achieve or how do you use this vehicle to reach your financial independence. For example, we use real estate because that's kind of what we speak, right? So if a person comes to me and said, well, I want to reach my financial independence using real estate, then I'm going to ask them to dilute the risk. So go learn anything and everything that you can, so that when you take the step to put your money there, you already diluting all your risks, or not all of it, but at least accounted for your risk, for your obstacles and your risks, and then mitigating them, taking action. So that'll be the other D that I would like to share. And I think what maybe I know your podcast is more than achieving your financial or living a complete fulfilled life. I would say the last D that we focused on is do good, and that's giving back in whatever ways you feel like you can give back. It can be building others, helping others. It can be like donating, or just carrying on the legacy to leave it for your generations to come. But do good. That I feel like more than just having money to pay for a meal. It's like what is people going to remember when I'm gone, when I'm not here? There will be no need for another meal. Then what is it after that, after achieving what I need to live, and what can I leave behind? And so that's definitely the last D. And I'm sure there's more to build, but at this point, that's where we find ourselves, that do good and giving back.
And congratulations on your success. You've taken a long journey. You keep showing up. You keep doing the work, and you've built the life of your dreams. And now it's awesome that you're in the give back phase of helping those who come behind you.
This is definitely an enjoyable place to be, and it's not until you feel content and fulfilled that you can then look around and see what, like, we spend years climbing on the mountain, right? That's like our laser focused behavior. You go and do educate yourself, reach what your potential is. And once that you find yourself at the mountain and you look around and you're like, okay, well, there's all these people trying to get up in the mountain. What can I do to help them reach that destination sooner, faster, with less pain or obstacles? And that is not until you are up there that you can have the freedom and again, that you have the control of your time, and then you can allocate that your resources. Again, doesn't have to be money, but it can be time, knowledge that you can then take back and share it. And there is no paycheck that you can write to give you a better satisfaction than to see others succeed and to see others achieve their potential, or like come up with an idea that is going to work for them. And that is priceless.
And that it is. And that's the entire purpose of the show, is to help people achieve their dreams faster and quicker and without all the mistakes that many of us have made. It's time to learn the secrets of life. What's your secret to living an abundant life?
I don't think there's so much of a secret, but I will say just being in control of your time, being in control of who you interact with. And to me, being minimalist, and not just in things, but also in communications and the way that you carry on your life. The least things that you have, the least relationships that are constructive to your life, the least energy that you spend just maintaining that nonsense.
And that's true. Less is more often than not. What did you learn later in life that you wish you would have learned sooner?
I think I spent a chunk of my years building myself. And so I feel a little selfish in like how I did it, because I was laser focused on the next task and accomplishing the next goal. I wish that I started interacting and networking and sharing what little I knew or had back then earlier. And I feel like I need to play catch up, but this is a good time to do it as well. So, but yeah, if you can start sharing, even if you don't think that it's a lot that you have to share and network with others and facilitate and see. Sometimes it doesn't have to be about money, but what time do you have to help the others' missions or accomplish their goals? And that just brings back good karma and good things to your life.
And that's true. You just need to be one step ahead of everyone else around you to help them take that next step. If you were to give an 18-year-old one specific piece of wisdom, what would it be?
Never stop trying. It has worked for me. Perseverance. You cannot take back take back a minute that you wasted. So purpose. For your movements, for your actions, you have to define the purpose. Why are you waking up today? So definitely have that. I never put it in writing until years ago, but I will say when you're a teenager, you can be easily distracted. So write your goals down and write your purpose, and that's going to change over time. But definitely put it on paper, put it somewhere that you can see it. That has served so much good in my later life. But I wish I would have started doing that much earlier.
And I always encourage everyone to write down their purpose. Figure out what it is, write it down. And as you said, it may change, but just taking that step puts you so far ahead. If people would like to find you and connect, where is the best place for them to find your material?
The website is From Financial Survival to Financial independence.com. I share a blog there, and soon to be released a podcast that it's going to be called Mind Your Money. other than that, you can probably Google my name and connect to Facebook.
Great. And I will put all of that in the show notes, and that will make it easy for people to find you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Rocky. Thanks for having me.
The question is, if someone can come here with no money and not speak the language and can survive and thrive, what's preventing you from your success? What can you do to get out of your comfort zone and grow? Excuses are not going to help you succeed. As always, as Maricela mentioned, you should do your best to reduce risk. We do that by learning and understand what we're getting involved with. She's also giving back and helping others now. Isn't that awesome? I think we tend to get lazy as we attain success. It's a struggle, and I'm always working on maintaining a balance, especially with my kids, and ensuring they have the spark to step up and do the work they need to do. See, the enemy of great is good. We settle, and we never should. One thing that brings this all together is when you know your major life purpose. It makes it so much easier. A lot of people have that question. What am I supposed to do with life? Will I ever know my purpose? You feel like you're missing it. We talked a lot about that with Mark Delaney back in episode 177. And if you need help with this, reach out to Mark. I'm going to put his calendar link in the show notes. Get on his calendar and have him help you find your purpose. Next week, I have on Luis Diaz, and he's also got an amazing story. And we share the power of podcasting and how we can help you to grow and thrive and maybe even build your business or your authority in a space. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please share it with others, post on social media, and don't forget to tag me. Have an abundant week.